Hi, this is Majnu, and I've been looking at a game that Kingscrusher played a few days ago, and it's a blitz game, so I want to have a closer look at this endgame. And but first of all, it's of course, when you play blitz, you don't have time to analyze everything, so don't consider this as a criticism against Kingscrusher about the way he plays, because I know that in blitz one uses intuition, and having a closer examination of positions will sometimes shows that things were not as we assessed. So this is not any criticism personally against Kingscrusher. It's just that I'm very intrigued about this endgame, because when this position was reached, Kingscrusher played here bishop to g5, and his voice comments kept saying things like, if black takes, then I can retake and I have two passed pawns, and that can be dangerous. And I didn't see it actually, so I commented that if bishop takes g5 here, h takes g5, that then black seems to be winning. And someone else replied that the idea is, and that's very interesting, because after bishop takes g5, h takes g5, f takes g3, king to e3. Now the idea is that white has indeed here these two passed pawns on g5 and on d4, but the fact is that black with his king can always stop those two pawns because they are too close to each other. So the black king will always be in the square. To show you what I mean, if g2, king f2, g1 queen, king takes, king to e6, now the white pawns cannot advance. Let's say, for example, that he advances with this one, g6, then the king simply picks up this pawn, and if the other pawn wants to advance, then black is in the square. So in this square of the endgame, there is an endgame rule that's called the square. If the king is in this square, then he will always be able to stop this pawn. So that means that those two passed pawns are not that dangerous as they look. And if white, after king to e6, if white here doesn't try to push those pawns immediately but tries to do something else, then there will be a moment when these pawns here and these pawns are blocked, so they cannot move, and the white king is the only piece that can move. So how can there will be a zugzwang position? It cannot be otherwise. For example, let's say white plays b4 and black advances his pawns. You still have a3. Now these pawns cannot move anymore, and black keeps advancing his own pawns. Then there is a moment when we reach a position like this, and black can... Wait a minute, is it true? Is it true or not? If h3 now, king takes f3, so it looks like, and if king to f5, oops, there, let's see, if king h3, king takes g5, so this black king is simply picking up these two pawns, and white cannot take the h pawn because then the g pawn will advance. Yeah, so this is one for black. Even if he tries d5 here, king takes g5, and again we have this square. Now, oops, like this, black is in this square, so he can stop the white pawn. So well, it is actually not that easy to assess when you're playing blitz here, and that's in fact what happened, because Kingscrusher's opponent played here bishop to g7, so he didn't dare to take on g5. So it looks as if both players didn't assess correctly the consequences of bishop takes g5. Now this game ended in a draw, and it's interesting. Well, anyway, I hope you found this interesting and fun to watch, and it's sometimes so good to just focus a little more on endgames, because we can learn from this, learn about how difficult actually this kind of endgames are. Sometimes we assess a position and we say with our intuition, okay, these two passed pawns, they must be strong enough, but if we look closely, then it's a different thing. I'm sure that in a slow game, in a standard with a standard tempo of more than 2 hours for the whole game, someone with the playing strength of Kingscrusher would analyze this much further than in a blitz game. Of course, in a blitz game you just have an idea and follow the idea. Alright, anyway, that's for now, and leave your comments on YouTube. Goodbye.